Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Muse Jester. My name is Junior. Okay, so after we saw all those Luke clones and after we saw the JNB Toys JB002 Fallen Savior or Anakin Skywalker figure, let's go on to his son, JNB Toys 001. This is actually the first of the line. The Interstellar Ranger or Luke Skywalker or the Jedi training dude from Mandalorian. Here's the front of the box. Simple. What's included? Let me go ahead and open it up and see what's going on. Here's the alternate head piece. Kind of has a windswept look to the hair. This hair is much better than the Anakin Skywalker hair. You see all those textures going on? That's what was missing in the Anakin Skywalker. Well, we have this. Let's go ahead and see. I mean, like, it's there, but it's just, I don't know. This one just feels so much better. Here's a close-up of the face. There's enough detail in the eyes, really good. And you have the teeth going on. It's not just solid white. Good teeth. The likeness is not there, honestly. I mean, it's you can kind of see Mark Hamill in there, but it's good enough, I think. For this one, I think the likeness is much better. Not completely there. I'd say 85%. It's probably one of the better shots. This is the Black Series Luke. So I think this is better than the Black Series. There's the Black Series might be a younger Luke, a little bit more narrow on the face, more pointed. Has a little bit of a caricature like feeling on the Marvel Legends. This one has a little bit more realistic look to it. So I think this suffers from the same problem as the Anakin Skywalker, where if you haven't futzed with the oh my gosh on the fabric, it's not gonna look good. One, I just you know what why I did that because I just realized this is not wired, and the big thing that helped with the Anakin was the wired, so I can futz the shoulders, and I'm afraid that this might be a bad thing. We know this is going to be completely layered. This is real leather, unlike the Anakin one was a combination of plastic and cloth on the belt. This one's real leather. I only mention that because as you can see it's trying to poke through there. That's probably the connection point, which I probably will have a hard time plugging that in there once I take it out. And I think I'm going to need to take it out because I have to futz with this costume. Also notice one of the hands fell off. This is one of the problems that I'm experiencing with the JNB toys. Is it's like it's got a long enough peg. I don't know why it keeps falling off. Oh, it's loose. It's not tight enough, and it's not going deep enough into the hand. Okay, that's a little bit better. So here's the detail. I mean, you can't really fault it because the source material is just black and gray. That's why I was never really a big fan of this particular costume. Notice this is again one solid piece of plastic, so there's no ankle articulation. And I really wish that I had the option where the jacket is the one that you flip over. Notice with this one, this is the Return of the Jedi. But the Return of the Jedi has this where the front of the shirt can be buttoned or has that button unbuttoned look. And I don't think this one does. This one's just a one piece, which I'm kind of disappointed because I wanted the Return of the Jedi look that he has, so he can be with Vader. This is um the one from the Mandalorian with Grogu. That's why he has Grogu here. This actually corresponds to this 3.75 vintage line. See how he has this front of the front of the shirt is just like tucked over to the side. Articulation wise, just gotta be careful with this thing. It's got the double jointed elbows. He has a joint at the bottom of the neck, so you can have the neck going in and out like that. And again, the hair is just gonna stop you from him looking up, side to side. We already know that he should have a good range in the abdomen. Oops. Oh man, I just unplugged it. Wink, 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 wink. I hope I didn't break that. Now I'm gonna have to unplug this whole thing. This is gonna be a problem later on. It's just a pin. That's gonna be a problem. If you lose that small pin right here, you're pretty much screwed. This is Velcro. Yeah, I didn't even realize it's that easy to unpeg the waist. This is actually a pullover, which I'm not fond of. So the disappointment is, for one thing, so this Luke is the Jedi Academy Luke version or the version where he rescues Grogu on the ship in the Mandalorian season 2 finale. The problem is this version of Luke does not have the I don't know what to call it, the tie over that's over to the side here where he fights Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi. This version of Luke sort of corresponds to this look of the shirt where it's just it slides over to the side here, kind of like a kimono, or so this is what the look that it's supposed to be, and you can kind of see that they tried to do that here on the top, and then they suddenly stopped because it's no longer seen under all the stuff that he's got. The second problem I have is the fact that this shirt is not this vest is not wired on the side, because I really needed that for the Anakin Skywalker um, to artificially raise the shoulder, so it's a little bit, it makes it look big. As you can see, this is the same body they're using on the Anakin, but it looks better here. What they've done with the Luke Skywalker version is they padded the shoulder to raise it up a little bit. This is the JB001. So this actually was produced before the Anakin figure. And there's something I want to try and see if it's possible. This is nothing more than those twist ties that you see on the toys. So I noticed that even though it's got a stitching here, it might be able to go to the back. And look, just by doing that, I'm able to shape it again now, just like I did with Skywalker, Anakin, and I'm able to raise the shoulder if I want to. I mean, definitely would have been better if it had been sewn into the fabric rather than me having to kind of futz around with it. This one is also, well, I will say this: they've improved a lot from JB001 to 002, because I feel the Anakin one is much better than this one. See, this is the Anakin robe, and you'll notice it's got a thin wire on the inside of the robe, nothing at the bottom. While this one, you have the inside lining of the cowl as wired and nothing outside, and then they wired the bottom, which is, I'm sorry, JMB, that's kind of stupid, because you all you're doing, you can't really, there's nothing to hold it up if you're doing a flowing windy cape, because there's nothing on the side. That was a really bad choice. You can't even do it like that, so it won't stick. And now all these wire at the bottom of the cape is just in the way. See, because you like. So let me remove that because that's a bad choice. And articulation. Let's continue with the articulation. Same as Anakin. You can put it up there, double jointed on the knees, nothing on the ankle. Because this is a separate item, you can twist it around here a little bit. Goes back that way. It comes with a what is this? A Death Trooper, but it's kind of it's good enough, but it's really plain. It's one solid piece. It's really heavy. There's not even any articulation on the head. Um, yeah, I guess I now need to get a Death Trooper 112 scale to pair up with him. I'm gonna look at Walmart. I think they're kind of on sale right now. This is good enough as an extra, but yeah. The Grogu, it's just translucent blue, and it kind of doesn't make sense because why is he transparent or translucent? Because we never really saw him being projected onto Luke, right? So he was rescuing him live. So I don't know why on that. Again, the base is pretty cool. What I did notice is that it doesn't have the bottom, so eventually it will go down like that. I plan on just gluing it because you don't really need this to move around. This thing will move around on its own because it's just a cylinder. The lightsaber is nice and detailed. I'm afraid that it's got a small pinprick. You've noticed that I have two of these, so that's kind of cool. I don't know if you're supposed to have two, but I do have two. Um, I, yeah, here's the second one. And then of course you have this one for the swooshing effect. I never use any of these. I mean, obviously you can hold it in one of these hands that comes along with the figure. This is so thin, it's kind of scary. Uh, to put on. Honestly, I would remove the blade and try to have him grip this. And just by forcing the fingers apart, it kind of loosened the fingers too much. There's just something wrong with this neck. There you go, much better. Then he has the force choke or the force hand. He has the hand that's holding that can hold the blaster. It's kind of a shame he doesn't have any kind of holster for the blaster, and he doesn't have a way to peg the lightsaber if you need to. basically the same height as Anakin. I put in this one just to show it off, but I feel like the stronger portrait is the neutral one, to be honest. I also want to note that even though this is the vintage version, notice that how the kimono or whatever this thing is called um, actually leaves space for his neck to show through. And even though this is a different uniform, also the neck shows through. This one just doesn't do that. That's mostly because of the padding that they did on the shoulder to raise the shoulder. So, and you can't bring it down anymore. It's like the upper part of the shirt. The shirt is kind of trash. The shirt is trash. It's hindering more than helping. So I've looked at the scene in particular where Luke comes in and rescues Grogu in the Mandalorian scene, and yes, definitely one of the things that's making it look inaccurate is the fact that his neck should be showing up to here. This should not be a turtleneck, and it's not meant to be a turtleneck. It's supposed to be that pull over to the side. And if that had been done properly, then this neck would have been showing. It should have been like something like that. Like that. That would have been better. Hmm. So, well, that's enough of that. There's potential. What do I think of JNB001 Luke Skywalker? Um, I'm gonna give it a value of 10. Um, I have to keep in mind, even though I opened it first, that Anakin Skywalker came after this. I don't know what the time frame is in between the two releases. There is a big improvement on the Anakin after going to this one. This actually, I would say, since I unboxed Anakin first, there's a bit of disappointment going to this one, and I will chalk it up to the fact that this was supposed to be released first. Um, the body we know is the same as Anakin, so we all know the problem with that. Their solution to artificially raising the shoulder, I believe, is a mistake. I feel like the Anakin solution where they wired this was much better. The costume is very, very simple, unlike Anakin, where it's got a lot of layers with different color fabrics that would help it. But even this, the pattern that they used for the Luke Skywalker is wrong. See, they did it right with Anakin because I remember with Anakin it had that full over to the side. That's what they should have done with this one. Um, and then the choice of the pattern that they used on the legs is also a mistake. I feel like they should have done with the Anakin again a slightly looser. The fabric is even different from the one that Anakin uses. This is thinner fabric than this one. This is thicker, and that's why it has that difference in terms of how this thing does a very, very nice job of doing folds and falls very, very nicely compared to the Luke. So this one is a, a good extra, but yeah, In terms of accessories, all the accessories that you need is good. I don't really mind the portrait is not that accurate to Hamill. Like it's 75-80% there. Um, Again, this is $99, so $100. That's no taxes and free shipping. So it's a 10 value compared to a 10 price because it could have been better. They could have definitely done it better. And we can see the improvement on Anakin. It's just yeah, you need to wire it yourself to kind of raise the shoulder, but it's already raised. So what you really need on this thing is to change the shirt on the top to a pullover. That way it will release the neck to be a little bit more visible. Maybe I'll just like cut this. I really don't like how this thing, but see, all that customization is should not be expected of a customer to make it better. That should be had been done in the factory or in design in the first place. All right, so this part of the video is about 3 hours or so after the last part of the video. So what's going on? So at first, what I did was basically take off this whole thing again and try to figure out what's going on with this undershirt because it's so bulky. I don't know what they did to pad it up. So I went ahead and took it out. And what I discovered was underneath this shirt that they've done, the padding that they used was some sort of undershirt that didn't make sense to me. And what the undershirt was this one. So I was looking at it and said, screw it. Let me go ahead and cut it out and see what it looks like. And what it looked like was basically that at least now it exposed the neck, which was what I wanted. And it didn't seem that bad as far as I was concerned because the bulkiness of the clothing was making it look good. So I was happy with it. But then I wanted to look at some other people's reviews, and I realized that whoever assembled this thing assembled it wrong because the padding that I thought was a padding apparently was a vest that was supposed to go on top of this, which is why it didn't make sense why this whole thing seemed so lazy, because this was supposed to go on top of it. And remember, I cut it, so now I had to freaking sew it back on so I can put it back on. I didn't mind that I had to sew it. This thing is going to be hidden underneath anyway. It just pisses me off that I had to cut it in the first place and resew it and all that stuff. Again, this is the kind of stuff that I think should not have had to happen. Admittedly, I should have looked at some other people's reviews, but I didn't. So hindsight and everything. Let's see what this looks like once I can actually put it on. Alright, so I've gone ahead and put the outer vest on. I know, look at that. It's kind of ugly. But again, that doesn't really matter because look, once I put this on, it's going to be covered anyway. So let's see now what this thing finally is supposed to look like if it had been properly assembled. Now that just looks so much better. So now we're seeing a clear neck. Before I was happy because I had cut off what I thought was the undergarment padding and it lowered and showed the neck and it was thin enough. But now it's even better because we see this pattern of this thing going down here, which is what was missing the whole time. And it just basically finished the whole look of the figure. So as I said, I didn't really mind that I had to stitch it back up because like you see, it doesn't even show. So now it's finally, it looks a lot better. But why did I have to freaking go through all the trouble? You know what I mean? Again, the wire that I put in really helped a lot. I was able to push it off to the side over here so I can shape it. I can actually shape this so I can make it higher or lower if I need to. So that's pretty cool. In terms of value, So if you had gotten the figure the way it was meant to be, I would put the value at 11 if the base price was at 10. Because of my experience of the incorrect placement of the garment, that I had to cut it off, and my initial impression that there was no neck, it didn't really look good. I'm gonna put it at 10. I was, before, my value rating was at 9 before I'd done all these fixes. And you could see the progression between this one and the Anakin Skywalker, because they did more correctly in that one. But I had to concede the fact that this was assembled wrong, and if I had gotten it correctly, I probably would have scored it higher. But yeah, but that's basically it. I still think that the cape that they did was constructed incorrectly. They should have had the wires on the side instead of just on the bottom. I think they should have put the wire in here, like what they did in Anakin, and that would have been just fine. If the cape was designed differently, where the wires were actually on the side of the cape rather than on the bottom, then I would have valued it the same way as I valued Skywalker. Right now, what I can say is this: if they were to produce any more figures in this line, let's say an Obi-Wan Kenobi, I would still buy it, because I believe there's enough progression between this figure and the Anakin figure that they're improving on their products. And that's basically it for my review of the JNB001 Interstellar Ranger, aka Luke Skywalker. I hope you found it informative and useful. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys again on the next review. Bye.